invocation. Lord, we ask your blessing on our Judeo-Christian Republican Club as we gather to renew our commitment to community, state, and nation. Strengthen us in our devotion to that way of governance our founders established with America's noble documents. Guide us to that way of life written in Judeo-Christian scripture and make us defend and preserve that glorious heritage in all our endeavors. Shalom and amen. Please be seated. Well, again, a nice welcome to all of you. Thank you for coming. I'd like to start with a few humorous remarks. Some highlights in the news of the past few days. We learned that our vice president has a potty mouth, along with an unbearable cackle for a laugh. We also learned that President Biden reduced inflation, that he found that 9% when he entered office, and he got it down to 3.5%, and he did that by spending trillions of dollars. Now that's what you call an economist. And we also learned this week that MSNBC now regards Michael Cohen as honest and sincere based on his courtroom testimony this week. Ladies and gentlemen, we are living in interesting times, and it's going to get better in the next few months. Stand by. Okay. At this time, I'd like to introduce our president, Alan Bergstein, who will take over the mic and continue the program. Alan?
Thanks, Tony. I'd like to thank all of you who are here tonight. Honestly, I'm always honest. It's disappointing. The crowd is disappointing. But you guys are the heroes. You're here tonight. I was watching President Biden tonight. He was doing a little talk from the White House. I think it was in his living room. The cameras were on. He put down the book he was reading, Dick and Jane. And he continued to talk. But then there was another humorous thing. Did you see Mayor Adams?
Yes.
He's going to give employment to illegal aliens because they know how to swim.
Yes.
This is the most ridiculous, asinine statement I've ever heard from a man who controls the lives and futures of 7 million Americans. 7 million Americans are in his hands, and this man is a complete idiot. Yes, Dan?
Alan, my name is Rachel. I'm new here. Lovely to meet you. But I think it's a wonderful idea because the sewers need to be cleaned up.
I'm sorry?
I think it's a wonderful idea because the sewers in New York need cleaning.
Well, I mean, these are people, he's a racist. He claims they're good swimmers because they swam across the Rio Grande River, which I read. But he doesn't understand that to be a lifeguard, you have to have certification. I was a lifeguard in Coney Island. You have to have training, and you have to show up every single day, and you have to have a bathing suit. And you have to have responsibilities. You have to know first aid. You have to know artificial respiration, what have you. But we're being controlled by Democrat idiots. The whole country is. I don't see how we can go on. But these are bleak times for us. These are very bleak times for us. Look around. We see we have no leadership, and you see the world is crumbling around us. You have the Ukrainian-Russian standoff. They could be fighting like this for years. No one gives a crap anymore. Have you heard about anything from the Ukrainian front? I haven't. They could be fighting like this for 100 years. No one cares. And we'll keep throwing money into the Ukrainians. Ukrainians will be killed. Russians will be killed. And in the Hamas situation, have you heard President Biden mention anything about the hostages?
No.
I haven't heard him mention one thing about hostages. I think you have 3 or 4 American hostages there. And anyway, this is a hostage situation where American troops should go in and forcefully retrieve these people. Under Trump, Hamas would have been destroyed already, and these hostages would have been removed. He would have said, listen, either you give us the hostages or you're all dead.
Yep.
We would have gotten the hostages back. But who knows what kind of conditions these hostages are living in. This is incredible, and no one cares about them. I don't see anyone caring about them. We have a situation now in Israel where Hamas beheaded infants, poke the eyes out of living people, and we're treating them as if they are the victims, and the Israelis are the oppressors, the aggressors. This is outrageous. But I don't hear anything from Chuck Schumer, I don't hear anything from Joe Nadler, I don't hear anything from any Jewish elected official. I hear nothing from any other Democrat elected official, nothing at all. No one cares. It's as if we're drifting away. And now there's going to be a debate, 2 debates, but it's going to be strictly on Biden's terms, strictly on Biden's terms. I would like the REC, the Republican Executive Committee, to come out with a statement saying, listen, we want these 2 debates. If you want, we'll have 3 debates. But these conditions have to be changed for our approval. We have to add a couple of our own conditions as well. Never do you go into a debate with the other side manipulating the ins and outs of the debates. You always, there's give and take. But I'm looking forward to it. It's the middle of June, and I don't know what it's going to be. But I basically think that Biden has no leg to stand on. As Tony said, he inherited 9% inflation. He said that twice, 2 distinct times, 9% inflation. Do you think that his handlers would have said, hey, listen, Mr. President, when you came in, it was not 9%, it was about 1.4. And it is now 3.7, 3.8, what have you. But this is inconceivable that this country is being run by a president like this. But this is the way things are. I'm concerned. I'm worried about my children. I have 1 grandchild. I'm worried about him. I don't know what kind of conditions they're going to be growing up in. Unless Trump is elected. If he is not elected in November, this is a complete catastrophe. I don't see how it could be. But these things happen. I didn't see how Biden could be elected the first time, and he was elected the first time. So I don't know what this is going to be. Will the Democrats pull something? Of course they'll pull something. It's expected it'll be an October surprise. But if Trump is not elected, this can be a disaster. But this is why we are here. This is why you are here. This is why you wear your hats. This is why we spend time bringing speakers like Willie here to speak to you. Because we must win. It's the salvation of the country. It's inconceivable that Biden could be another 4 years. I don't know if he can think anymore. I don't know if he could plan anymore. I don't know if he knows where he is anymore. I'm looking forward to the debate. I'm looking forward to the debate where they won't be able to cut and paste, where it'll be just, what's happening. I don't know. But we'll keep going on and we'll keep plotting, PLODDING, and praying as well, and working hard. And that's why we have Willie here. And are there any candidates for office here tonight? No, okay. So let me turn the mic over to Bill Petraglia, our VP, who will introduce our guest speaker tonight. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alan.
Well, thank you, folks. I appreciate everybody being here tonight. What people don't realize is I met that gentleman, Willie, maybe about 10 years ago. And we kind of hit it off. There was even talking the old Tea Party. We were up in Jupiter with Mel Grossman's crowd up there. Willie just told me, I'm very sorry, I heard that Mel had a bad stroke. And this is what it is. Our crowd seems to be getting older and older. And, I used to say in here, and when we had 250 people in this organization, the majority of them were from 70 to 95. And they were all the old school people. These were people that, God forbid, if it was raining, snowing, hailing, walkers in wheelchairs, they would be crawling to the booths to vote, these people. And we had the one election day, and that's the way it should be. all of this garbage that's been put in by these Democrats with the mail-ins, with this, with that, all the nonsense. And I had recommended, I wrote a letter to Ron DeSantis and said, you know what would be a great idea? You know, okay, I'm a prior law enforcement guy and I'm a little bit prejudiced. But I said, why can't we have a Florida highway patrolman in every poll, plus the sheriff's office? People coming in and see that, just the presence of the uniform, it's a visible deterrent if they have any ideas to cheat or whatever they're going to do. And you know, it's things like that where, oh, we couldn't do that. You're going to offend people when they walk into the voting polls and see uniforms there. That's going to offend them. So, but tonight, you know, I'm glad you're here. I'm a little bit disappointed because I promised Willie 50, 60 people easy.
You said 2,000. 2,000.
Oh, 2,000 it should be, because what he has to say is well worth it. And let me tell you, we have one of the best, he's one of the top proactive, pro-life people that we have down here in Florida. We're lucky to have him as a spokesman. On numerous occasions, he's met with the governor, he's met with Donald Trump, he's a good advisor to these people. And I hope he continues doing it. But let me give you a little background on Willie. And before we start, you people all know I'm a Christian, but I'm a Christian Zionist. Whatever Bibi Netanyahu's doing, I'm with him 100%. None of these people are supposed to come out of those rat holes that they're in. And you know, you hear, well, they got 2, they got 1, they got... No, I want to see them all dead. That's the way it works. They had the nerve to do that. They started it, and Israel has to finish it. So anyway, let me get on with Willie, excuse me. Regarded as the boldest and most prolific pro-lifer in the state of Florida and in the country, Willie Guardiola has been running his 501c3 nonprofit ministry, Christian on a Mission, since 2006. Willie also serves as the president of the Palm Beach County Right to Life League for 15 years. And runs Pro-Lifers for Trump, where he put Trump Corner, PGA and Military Trail on the map in 2016, running hundreds of Trump rallies there, which was internationally known now. Willie is a loyal Trump supporter and is working around the clock to get President Trump reelected in 2024. Willie has served as a spokesman for the unborn in Palm Beach County for many years, where all the local media come to him every time the word abortion is mentioned. A fierce fighter for the unborn, Willie's mission is to ban abortion from Florida and in America, once and for all. Willie G. is also a devout Catholic, where part of his job description is to challenge the Catholic bishops of Florida and all the clergy in the Palm Beach diocese to stand boldly for the unborn and to be more proactive when it comes to fighting abortion in our 7 dioceses here in the state of Florida. A former basketball referee and a referee for over 45 years, and a professional harmonica player. Did you bring that tonight? Where he is now playing at St. Mary, Mother of the Light Church. Willie has served as a keynote speaker in the state of Florida for many years, preaching his bold messages from Miami to Tallahassee. You can contact Willie at a phone number, anyone interested. I'll give it to you later when you get a chance to write it down. And it's my pleasure at this time to have the best pro-life speaker in Florida up on this stage with us right now. Willie Guardiola.
Boy, I could leave now. I'm not sure if I should use this mic or not. I tested positive this afternoon. Positive that Trump is going to win on November 5th, and positive that we're going to annihilate Hamas, Hezbollah, and all those. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here. Alan, thanks for having me here, and Bill as well. I haven't been in this building in about 4 years. I spoke here about 4 years ago. Ann Vandersteel was doing a show, and again, it was all about pro-life. So I hope everybody in this room is pro-life. And I'm saying not to the extreme, but you know, it's kind of difficult to run pro-lifers for Trump, which I started back in 2016. And I have pictures with him with our t-shirts and everything. And of course, he's taken a really, you know, a stand back now on the pro-life issue. If you guys have seen, he's even barked about the 6-week heartbeat ban that just went into effect 2 weeks ago, May 1st. And he doesn't even want a 15-week ban across the, you know, the nation. So it's kind of difficult to kind of maneuver around that stuff. So I said, let President Trump do his thing. Let him win November 5th. We need to win no matter what. I'll do my pro-life thing. I'll save babies. He'll save the country. So that's our agreement right now. So just keep that in prayer. Very important. I'm a former NCAA basketball referee. I used to work in the SEC. It was a lot of fun. I used to run basketball camps for kids ages 5 to 17, high school leagues, college leagues, and then of course the adult corporate leagues. I had the entire market in Miami from ages 5 to 65. Anybody that lived in Florida came through my basketball program. So it's a lot of fun, and I got to travel around the entire country, and working the SEC back then was just a blast. I started Christian on a Mission actually 2004 when Hurricane Charlie hit the west coast of Florida. And in 2004, August 13th, Friday the 13th, and I saw what happened there, and I went over to Arcadia and a couple other places in Port Charlotte. I said, oh my God, look at this place. I went to Publix, packed my SUV up with everything you could think of, went over there and started hurricane relief for those people out there. 2006, I incorporated Christian on a Mission, worked with the poor, the homeless. I used to do mission trips to Nicaragua. I took all those kids there at these orphanages. All of them were all sexually and physically abused, and I raised so much money for them, and I became like a father to those kids. And I went there quite a few years. Then I started going to Haiti, and what I saw in Haiti was unbelievable. I thought Nicaragua was bad. When you get to Haiti, it's just, you can't even explain it. I was there before the earthquake of 2010 and after the earthquake, and I got to see firsthand what the Clintons did to that country. They stole $2.3 billion from Haiti. And any single Haitian that's living in this country that votes Democrat, Clinton, or anything like that, it's crazy. So I saw it firsthand in Haiti. In 2009, I actually walked away from my basketball business. And I said, I really need to focus on Christian on a Mission. Here I was in Haiti holding these kids in my arms that were dying. And then I'm running a basketball camp and I'm watching these kids wearing $200 Michael Jordan shoes. I said, no, I can't do this anymore. So I literally, as a leap of faith without a cape, I quit basketball completely and just went for Christian on a Mission full time. And pretty much focusing on the pro-life movement. That's what I really, really wanted to do. So let's fast forward to politics in 2016. As Bill was saying, Trump Corner, PJ&E Military is internationally known. Not nationally known, internationally known. I started that back on June 14th of his birthday in 2016. The first, and this was when he was running against Hillary, the first Friday we went out, there was 18 of us there. And it was literally all Hillary. I think we got one thumbs up for Trump. They were throwing everything at us, bottled waters, the whole 9 yards. And they're looking at me and said, Willie, you want to come back? I said, we're coming here every single Friday until November 3rd, until the election. Next Friday, 25 of us showed up. 5 thumbs up for Trump, couple honks. Kept building up, building and building. Now we've got 300, 400, 500. By the 10th week there, we're looking at 800, 900 people every Friday there. And now we're seeing it's, you know, Trump. Even the landscapers, the Hispanics, the blacks and everything were, you know, honking at us. I speak Spanish, so I'm telling them you got to vote Trump, illegal or not. You should vote Trump. But we built up until the last 4 Fridays of 2016, And we even had Ben Carson, who I became friends with, come out there on the Monday before Tuesday, November 3rd. 1,500 people were coming out there on Fridays. It was unbelievable. And Dan Scavino, who's Trump's right-hand person when it comes to social media, was going out there and just putting out all kinds of stuff, posting, and they couldn't believe Trump Corner was nationally known. So let's fast forward. Trump gets elected. I work around the clock for him, literally doing all this stuff, pro-life stuff. But when the first meeting that I went to, because I was with Ted Cruz for about 10 months, and we won 12 states, including Iowa. So the first meeting, Ted Cruz dropped out on May 3rd. I took 24 hours off. On May 5th, which is Trump's favorite Mexican holiday, Cinco de Mayo, I jumped on the Trump train. I walked into a big building there at the RAC, and everybody's looking at me and said, "Willie, what are you doing here?" I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Aren't you with Cruz?" I said, "Cruz dropped out May 3rd. I'm with Trump, and I truly believe that Trump's got a better chance than anybody, and he's going to win." He said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I'm bringing the pro-life movement to the Trump campaign." A bunch of ladies going, "Shh, Willie, hold on a second. He's not even pro-life. You can't talk about abortion here. There's too many women." I'm bringing the pro-life movement to the Trump campaign. And that's exactly what I said, and that's exactly what I did. I printed up 500 t-shirts, pro-lifers for Trump. I made one for him, for Melania, for Barron. Back at the time, Barron was only like 5'7". Now he's 6'7.5", so he needs a triple XL. But I mean, it was really a lot of fun. And we continued just running all kinds of rallies, and I mean, we had a blast there in Trump Corner. It was almost like a cult. It was almost like a religion. And again, the police was always with me. I never leave home without calling the media, without calling the police. And I became best of friends with Assistant Chief Police Marty Bechtel, who was with the Palm Beach Gardens police force. And every time we went to Trump Corner, we had minimum 4 police on that corner there. We never had an incident there whatsoever, and it was a blessing, it really was. So going now to 2020, we're talking January 2nd, 3rd. Wendy Rhodes, who is a very good national journalist and also writes for the Palm Beach Compost, calls me, she interviews me. So we do this big interview. It's a 2-page article, front page of the Palm Beach Post. I said Post this time. And everybody in the country apparently read this article. And of course, I was going to be going to January 6th up in DC. I was taking 4 buses. Does Joe Duva come to these meetings? You guys know Joe Duva? Yeah, because I think he's been here before. Anyway, we had a bus going from Dade County. I had Joe on Broward. I took one out of Trump Corner on PJ Military, and then also up at the Villages up near Orlando. So all told, about 172 people went up there, different times or what have you. And that leading up there, the article came out, and on a given, I think it was a Wednesday, at 10 in the morning, I get a phone call, and it's from Japan. And I'm like, okay, who's calling here? So I answer the phone. It's a Japanese reporter who's now in New York, and they had headquarters in New York. 2 minutes later, I get a phone call from Italy. The same thing. Willie, we heard all about you. I read this article. We want to come down and meet you and do a documentary. I'm like, wow, this is unreal. 2 minutes later, Great Britain calls. And then France, and another Japanese crew. You name it. There was 10 different countries called me. And they all wanted to come to my house and do an interview and a documentary. So I called my family up. I thought it was Tom Trento pulling a trick on me. I said, oh, Tom's up to something here. But it was true. And I literally called everybody back, and I set, all these appointments up at my house. The Italians were the first to come. They showed up at about 5 in the afternoon. They left at 6:15. No, they got there at 4 in the afternoon. They left at 5:15. Then the Japanese crew of 3 shows up at my house with all these cameras and everything. And it was just unreal the way these people, I live out in the country on 7 acres. I designed and built a beautiful log home on a private lake. It's really pretty. And they were just going crazy. They didn't want to leave my house. I had shrimp and sushi, the whole 9 yards. They wouldn't eat anything. I said, guys, I'm single. I live by here by myself. My cats don't eat this stuff here. So they finally started eating. They didn't want to leave. They left at 8:30. Long story short, when all the documentaries came out, I got to see quite a few of them. I mean, for some of the biggest television networks in Japan, some of the print newspapers, the whole 9 yards, it was unbelievable. I was all over the world. So we go to January 6th, and we leave Trump Corner about 3 p.m. We get up to DC around 7:15 in the morning, and it was just the most incredible thing. Anybody in this room go to the January 6th rally? Anybody? Just one person? No? Nobody? Anyway, as far as I could see, there was just a sea of just red hats, and it was unbelievable. I've organized 1 million Trump rallies, been to so many, but this was truly a rally. 800,000 people there. I mean, the Washington Monument, I just said, look at this place. We're at the Ellipse Club, and it was just unbelievable. Needless to say, Trump was about an hour late. So he came on an hour late. The whole rally was just enthusiasm, and all the kids, it was family, the whole 9 yards. He got done at 1:11 p.m. 1:11 p.m. because I documented everything. I took pictures, videos, I put out all kinds of emails, sent it out everywhere. And at 1:11 p.m., that's when he said, let's peacefully and patriotically walk over to the Capitol building. So myself and a couple of other people said, hey, let's go take a walk and see what's going on. Remember, I'm in charge of this bus here, and the 2 bus drivers, 2 Cuban guys, didn't speak much English. So we're walking towards the Capitol building, and it's, you know, I'm walking around 5 minutes. I said, you know what? I haven't seen a police officer anywhere here. I don't see any law enforcement anywhere. And there's 200,000 people walking the Capitol building. I said, there's no snipers, there's nothing here. We walk another 5 minutes, we finally see the first 2 police officers. I said, something is up here. This is kind of crazy. So we get close to the Capitol building, and all of a sudden the first police and siren, the lights come on. The second cop car, the third, fire and rescue. I see a bunch of police put their shields on their helmets and everything. I told our group, I said, let's stop here. There's something going on at the Capitol building. Let's not go any further. We went over to the food trucks, had something to eat, and nobody really knew what was going on. Mind you, this already started at about 12:15. We didn't get to it till about 1:35 or something. So this is already going on. You know, the media's going to tell you, you know, it's the other way around. But we came back, and then now we hear that DC is closed down. Nobody could get in. The bus is stuck. We're supposed to meet at this one point at 3:15. We didn't meet till 5:15. So long story short, we finally got up with the bus drivers. We jumped on the bus and we headed back. On the way up to DC, Channel 5, 1225, all calling me, Willie, you know, put your iPhone on. And they were interviewing me on the bus driving up there. And then I was going around the bus showing everybody, and people were talking. It was really fun, you know, live streaming all these TV, you know, networks. Coming back, they did the same thing, but all they wanted to know was what happened in the Capitol building. Willie, did you go in that Capitol building? Did anybody? And I said, look, I got no comment. I got nothing to say. I didn't go to the Capitol building. But that's all they wanted to hear. So we just kept hearing rumors and what have you. We get back to Trump Corner at about 9:30 the next morning. And it was like, wow, that was unbelievable. What a rally, but what really happened? Then we started hearing all the stories and all that. So I think 3 days later, I'm sitting in my log home, I'm working, and I hear a knock on the door. I live out in the country. Even with GPS, you can't find my house. And I go out there, and I open up the French door. There's a gentleman and a big, tall, blonde lady there. And I said, can I help you? You guys lost? They said, are you Willie Guardiola? And I said, well, it depends. Who are you? They said, oh, we're with the FBI. So they both flashed their, you know, FBI. I said, do you want to go fishing or do you want to come in the house? So we come sit in the house. We sit down. Gentleman sits across from the lady. And he says, Willie, you're regarded as the biggest Trump supporter in the state of Florida. You have a lot of contacts. We want to know who your contacts are. And I said, do you want to start with Catholic priests or where do you want to go? So every time he asked me a question, I made him feel like a fool. And I wish to God I knew they were going to come, because I wish I would have videotaped it like Ralph is videotaping right now, because I could have sold 2 million copies. So he comes up and he says, Willie, you're all over the entire country. All these countries, all these different articles and everything, and you keep saying that Sleepy Joe is not going to put his hand on the Bible on January 20th. Are you threatening the president? I pointed to the sky and I said, no, divine intervention. I'm not threatening the president. I wouldn't go near that guy. I said, something's gonna happen between now and January 20th, and it's gonna be divine intervention. Keeps going, asking me questions. The last question he asked me, he goes, what is this GGT thing that you sign off, your t-shirts and all that, GGT? That's been my mantra forever. And I look at both of them and I point to this guy again, I go, God's got this. And they both looked at each other. He says, okay, I think we've heard enough. So they picked up, left, went out to the driveway and took off. I wish to God I could have recorded what those two people were talking about driving out of my driveway. I really do. I looked around to see if they were bugged, if they had any mics on. I had my iPhone just in case they got stupid. I was going to call my attorney. But it was just amazing that the FBI wastes their time on a person like myself, you know, a patriot, an American who came from Cuba in 1961 at the age of 3 to get away from this communism. And I'm seeing it now. It's like, this is unbelievable. It's really sad. Those two people left, and I sat there, and my 3 cats looked at me and said, who the heck were those people? You know, it was like they were looking at me, and I said, wow, this is unreal. And then from there, the whole J6er stuff just started. And I pray for those people every single day. It's the most unfair thing I've ever seen in my life. It really is. I don't even know if I should tell you this, but maybe I should. Just keep it here between us. On our bus, there was a gentleman that came on, and I had met him at Trump Corner a couple of times. Big guy, 6'6", about 320. So I kind of had him as a bodyguard there, just kind of, you know, working as a bouncer type of thing. Well, needless to say, he did go in the Capitol building because the cops moved the barricades and they said, come on in, come on in. And they beckoned them all in, and all these people came running in. And once he got in, the DC police, he said 5 or 6 of them came with billy clubs, and they hit him like you wouldn't believe. So we were delayed 45 minutes waiting for this gentleman. He finally showed up, and he's like walking like this. I said, man, you know what happened? He pulls up his shirt in the back. He's got 3 welts 4 inches across, black, blue, and purple. And I said, what happened? He told me the story. I couldn't believe it. About 6 weeks ago, I read the Palm Beach Compost again on the front page, and it has this gentleman's name in there, saying that he's doing 5 years in jail because he went into the Capitol building. So that to me, just, I mean, I was shook up. I was like, wow. That guy was sitting on my bus. I put him on my bus specifically to take care of me. He's doing 5 years in jail right now, so don't tell anybody I mentioned it today. I won't mention his name. I could tell you stories about Trump, just so many really fun one-on-one meetings with him, talking about pro-life, etc. I was at Mar-a-Lago about 1 year and 3 months ago, God bless me, about 1 year and 3 months ago. He invited 11 big donors. Each one paid $150,000. We sat around the big table. The room was absolutely gorgeous. We were there for 3.5 hours. Trump was with us for 3. We had this incredible dinner. I mean, the waiters, it was just unreal. And we all went around the table, and Trump had us introduce ourselves and say, you know, who we are, where we're from. There was a couple from Alabama, a couple from Philadelphia, a couple from Chicago, and then other single people. And next to me was Boris Epshteyn, who is one of Trump's attorneys, sitting next to me, and Kimberly Guilfoyle was there. So every time somebody mentioned the word abortion, or Catholic, or you know, the Catholic Church, or the bishops, or whatever, Trump would stop. Says, Willie, what's your take on it? So back then, the 15-week abortion ban was the hot topic. So he asked me, et cetera, et cetera. So it was really cool. When he got to me, I stood up and I, you know, told what I do, told the whole group what I did and everything. So the entire dinner turned into a pro-life conversation. It was amazing, it really was. And every time I stood up and said something, Boris would give me a fist bump. He said, man, here, this is my business card. This is my cell number. You need to call me tomorrow. So we became best of friends. Kimberly Guilfoyle came up to me afterwards and the same thing. So I became even closer with them. And we're in contact, you know, pretty much on a weekly basis and everything. And just trying to deal with all the Trump stuff. And this leads me to how important is it when people say, Willie, when you call Ashley Moody, when you call Governor DeSantis, when you write to them, these open letters, I don't think anybody here's on my email list except for Ralph now. And Bill, you're on it. So if you read my emails, you know that I cover a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm from A to Z. And when people say, you write these open letters to Ashley Moody, to Governor DeSantis. October 7th was the worst massacre attack I've ever seen in my life when Hamas attacked Israel. That same day, I sent an open letter to Ashley Moody. It just happened to be that same day, October 7th. And I was in charge of South Florida putting out our amendment, our pro-life petition to get 900,000 signatures to have the ballot, the amendment on the ballot for the election coming up. Needless to say, the left has had all this money. Soros said, here's $15 million. We're going to pay you guys $50 an hour. Let's get the 900,000 signatures. We didn't even come close to that. But every single petition that I turned in, which is thousands, was to me a saved baby. That's the way I looked at it. They got their numbers, and when I saw the petition, I wrote to Ashley Moody. I said, Ashley, please take a look at this petition, at this amendment. There's like 4 red flags here. You need to really take a look at this. This is misleading, it's vague, and it's going to really mess up our voters. She took a look at it, and she brought it to the Supreme Court. I wish everybody here could have read these emails leading up there. So the Supreme Court, which is 6-1, Florida, conservative, they took a look at it and everything. Just said, so we had that big rally up in Tallahassee about 3 months ago. I was up there for Catholic Days at the Capitol, and I got to meet with all the bishops again. When they see me, they shake in their shoes. I mean, it's hysterical. So at that rally, they said on April 1st, we'll come up and let you know if we're going to go and allow this amendment to be on the ballot or not. And 4 of these Supreme Court justices, I won't name them, they caved. So 4-3, the amendment is going on there. Alan, can you hand me that vote no for right there real quick? Can you hand me that poster there real quick?
Yes.
So this is what is going to appear on the ballot. This is Amendment 4. This is really, really important. I hope everybody here is at least semi-pro-life. Number 4, if this goes on, and 60% of Floridians vote yes on this, 60%, abortion in the state of Florida is going to be unlimited. It's going to be anytime, anywhere, any place, for any reason, period. Parental consent, throw it out the window, etc. I mean, it's really, really scary stuff. Amendment 3 is what? Marijuana. So if they win on 3 and 4, we're in trouble. So if everybody can see this, vote no on 4. This is really, really important. This is something that I told the Ashley Moody, and I've told everybody when Channel 25 did a special, and they put me on. It's called On the Record, and I was on it for 6 minutes. And I literally said, even if they get 60% of the vote, this is not going to go into play in the state of Florida, because people like myself are not going to allow it to happen. And I believe the Supreme Court justices are going to come to their senses and say, hold on a second, and they're going to fight it forever and forever. So let's pray to God that we win in a landslide and we vote no on number 4, because it's very, very important. So it does pay to call Ashley Moody. I spoke to Rob Starks about a week ago for about 52 minutes. He's one of her right-hand people, and went through the whole ordeal, everything, how important it is, etc., about what we need to do here with pro-life and here in the state of Florida. Does anybody know how many abortions took place in the state of Florida last year? Any idea? 84,000. 84,000. It's 235 babies killed every day in the state of Florida. Number 1 is California, number 2 is New York, we're number 3. Can you imagine we're number 3 behind those 2 blue states? That to me is despicable, it's disgusting. I don't sleep at night thinking, wow, 84,000. Palm Beach County alone, over 6,200 babies killed. As the president of Palm Beach County Right to Life League, when I go into those Planned Parenthood as a presidential women's center, I tell those people, you're killing my constituents. When I use the word constituents, all these people say, wow. And the pro-life people, Father Frank Pavone, who's become a dear friend of mine, said, I've never heard anybody call a baby in the womb a constituent. And that's what we need to call them, because they are human beings. It's not a fetus or blob of cells. They are constituents. And as the president of Palm Beach County Right to Life, they're killing my constituents. So it's very important. Governor DeSantis, I was on him for 5 years. On his count, the first 4 years, 308,000 abortions in the state of Florida in his first 4 years. That's unacceptable. So I write to him all the time, I call the office, etc. And this is about 12 days ago. I wrote him an open letter, and hopefully you people read it. And I basically said, Governor, where are the people in Florida? What are we doing right now while President Trump is in a courthouse in New York? Where is, Rubio and Rick Scott, Byron Donalds, Corey Mills? Where are the Florida people at? Those are our senators. He's in a courtroom in New York, and we can't go and do fundraising and rally. I said, you need to get a hold of our Florida people and get the, do fundraisers, do rallies, etc. It's a beautiful letter, heartfelt as can be. 48 hours after I sent that letter, he met with President Trump in Miami for 4 hours. I'm telling you right now, again, this is prophecy. This is the Holy Spirit. It's not me. He meets with Trump for 4 hours in Miami. I also included in there, you need to get people like Vivek, you need to get Kristi Noem, you need to get Carrie Lake, you need to get Burgum, you need to get all of these people, Ted Cruz, etc., involved. Why are they not even going out to see you at, New York? They should be doing something out there. What's been going on this past week? All of them are going over there now. The 5 of them took the microphone yesterday. Vivek could have run for president yesterday. I mean, that guy's unbelievable. I don't think him and Trump will last more than 2 minutes in a room because they're too hard-headed. But it was amazing what he said. But think about that. Does it matter when you write open letters to the governor and when you follow up with phone calls and you're adamant about it? They take that stuff for serious. So we got 5.5 months before the election. I pray again that we continue doing this stuff, fundraise for President Trump, because what's going on here, between Georgia, Florida, and New York is just, to me, it's the biggest sham in the world. It's unbelievable that we have to put up with this stuff. I mean, to think of the greatest president we've ever had in the history of this country, the greatest president ever, has to deal with a porn star. I mean, it's just, to me, it's just ludicrous. It's entertainment. I can't believe that we're stooped down that low to even do that. They should have just said no right from the get-go. So thank God that Trump is taking the mic after each court hearing and speaking his mind. And look what happened on Saturday at Wildwood. 100,000 people showed up in New Jersey? I mean, that's unheard of. Think about that. Bill said 100,000 were going to show up here tonight. I don't know where they're at. But anyway, I'm glad that you guys are here. Seriously. Let's talk about Israel. I've been to Israel twice in the last 5 years. I went with Tom Trento, the United West. Does anybody know Tom Trento? Sure. He's a big activist and all that. That trip was strictly border security. We went with Ronnie Wexler, who fought in the 1967 war, the Six-Day War, and he got clearance for us. Security clearance where nobody else was allowed to go. And all these guards came out there, they moved these gates for us. We saw places, the 4 different borders, and it was just unbelievable. Phenomenal trip. Last year, exactly a year ago, May, I went back to Israel. And I went with my church, Father Gary George, my spiritual director and pastor, the holiest man I've ever known in my life. Nothing against you, Alan, but this man is as holy as can be. And that was a different trip. It was a pilgrimage, and it was all about the Holy Land, all the holy sites. I'm a harmonica player. I played in so many different churches with our guitar player. It was absolutely beautiful. The videos, it was just unreal. I was at the Garden of Gethsemane, and I'm praying there, and I'm just looking around, and I feel this anxiety. I said, something's going on here. That Israel, something's happening here. And I felt this anxiety. Fast forward 2 more days, we're in Jerusalem. We go to the Church of the Sepulchre. Millions of people there. You got the Mexicans here, you got the Chinese. I mean, it's just all kinds of groups, fast as can be. Jerusalem makes New York look like, Naples. It's unbelievable, too much. And I felt this anxiety, and I told Father Gary, I said, you know what? I got a feeling something's going to happen here in Israel in the next, this year. I said, I don't feel good. I'm not coming back here until we get rid of all this terrorism and Hamas and everything. He said, you know what, I feel the same way, we're not coming back here. So he's got another pilgrimage coming up in October, going to Spain, France, and Portugal. So he didn't want to go back. And it was just something that I felt. And then fast forward to October 7th when I saw what happened there, and Alan was talking about that earlier. Just to me, it's just that, it's almost like watching a movie. And the media just wants to just erase it like nothing happened. It's just beyond comprehension. So those 2 trips to Israel really changed my life, especially the last one, because I see what's going on right now. And I'm all in favor of Netanyahu. And I just wish we had a president that had guts, that doesn't go one way, the other, and that kind of stuff. If Trump was in the White House right now, there wouldn't be any war. I mean, it just, there wouldn't be any Hamas, there would not be anything going on in Ukraine with Russia and everything and stuff. He would just come in and say, Putin, do me a favor, sit down, sit in the corner, I'll talk to you in a minute. Xi, over there, China, you go sit over there. And that's what he would do. With this guy, it's disgusting that we're living in a country that is just taken over by these communists. And coming from Cuba, in 61, we saw what communism. You go to Miami, you speak to any Cuban in Miami from ages 50 up, there's not a single one of them that is not voting for Trump. Not a single one. Even the Venezuelans and a lot of the Hispanics and everything. It's just beyond me. I'm a devout Catholic. And I sit there when I meet with the bishops. I said, really, before we start this meeting, remember, 50% of Catholics are Democrat, 50% are Republican. I go, whose fault is that? It's your fault, the bishop's fault. It should be maybe 90-10. And it's the same thing with the Jewish people. I have millions of friends that are Jewish. REC people, the Republican Party, some of these people are diehard patriots. I mean, Jewish and just diehard. They love America, they love Israel, and they'll do anything for President Trump. And then I talked to another Jewish person, same age, same demographics, living in Palm Beach Gardens, can't stand Trump, and they vote Democrat. For the life of me, I can't understand how the Jewish person can vote Democrat for Biden, how a Catholic person can vote, Democrat for Biden. It's beyond me. So that's something that we have to fight, and I deal with the bishops all the time. I was saying earlier, when I went to Tallahassee a few months ago, we have 8 bishops, including the auxiliary. 7 of them were there. Parks was sick, so he wasn't there. But 5 or 6 of them were together, and they see me walking, and I'm walking towards them. They don't know which way to look. I said, oh my God, here he comes. And 2 of them I had not met in person. They just get my emails because I call them out every other week. So they're looking at me, and I look on the floor to see if there's a puddle. And they're just literally shaking there. But they respect me, they fear me, because I walk the walk. And when it comes to, coming out here and fight for the Catholic Church, and it's your fault that these Catholics are voting for Democrats, and that's the way I do. And when I meet with them, I don't hold back. So that's what we have to do with our Catholic bishops. There's 8 of them here in the state of Florida, 7 dioceses, and with all the rabbis and all the Jewish people as well. If we could get another 5% of the Catholics who voted for Biden for Trump this time, and the Jewish people, it's a done deal. Because the young people, the Hispanics, and that the black population is going to be voting for Trump. So the only way they're going to win is cheating again. So we have to, I could do a whole talk on all that, but I'm not going to. How much time do I have here?
Keep going.
Keep going?
Keep going.
I'll finish up here with the funny story. I don't know, did anybody read my jury duty story? When I went to jury duty about 3.5 weeks ago? Hysterical. I think jury duty is very important. I think everybody needs to, at least be a part as a citizen and serve as a juror, because it's very important. Over the past 40 years, God knows how many times I've been called jury duty, including the the Grand Federal Jury. It's what it's called, Grand Federal Jury, 18 months. That means every Monday for 75 Mondays when I was living in Miami, I had to go to the courthouse and report for jury. And on top of that, they elected me as a foreman. Think about that. With the exception of 5 where we were excused, 70 Mondays I had to go to fight the traffic and parking in Miami to the courthouse. So I've paid my dues of jury duty, for everybody in this room right here. I get summoned, 2 months ago. And they said I had to appear on a Thursday at 8 in the morning. I said, I'm not going to jury duty. So I have a closet in my house that's got 400 t-shirts. Every shirt you could think of. I mean, all the Trump shirts that have ever been printed. I even have some DeSantis. A couple of them are crossed out. Christian shirts, pro-life shirts, God's Got This t-shirts, you name it, across the board. I said, okay, which shirt should I wear to jury duty on Thursday so I could get home by 12 noon? Because I'm not serving. So I looked through my closet, and I get to this t-shirt here, and this is funny because Laura Loomer actually gave me this shirt. Hold this up for everybody here, Bill. So this is the t-shirt that I put on to go to jury duty on that Thursday morning. Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Okay? Not for the president, not for me. So I'm walking into the courthouse. I kid you not, everybody's looking at me. I'm just wearing this shirt and a t-shirt and a pair of jeans. The security guards, a couple of them, fist bumps, thumbs up. I mean, I felt like, it's like a barometer. Hey, how good is Trump doing right now? And across the board, I would say 75% of the people like the shirt. So I go through the metal detectors, fist bumps. I go over there to check in and get my badge. The lady says, name, Willie Guardiola. She looks at me, she stares at my shirt. She didn't say turn it inside out or anything like that. She gave me my badge. We go into the big room, 150 people sitting there, we're getting to watch a movie. And they said, just sit here patiently until they call your name. Sat there for about 20, 25 minutes. They call about 65 of us. So we go to the elevator, 11th floor, we're walking in, we gotta get in 6 different rows, 11 people in each row. I'm number 2 in row 3. So you have to sit in those seats every time you go in so the judge and the attorneys know who you are. So we're walking in, big deputy sheriff, black Jamaican guy, about 6'5", looks at my shirt and he says, I love that shirt. And I said, I love our president. I always say our president. I don't say former president. No, I love our president. And I wear my MAGA hat. This is one of the nicest things that I have because President Trump gave me this hat. He signed it and they put the Thanks Willie on it. But this I don't wear. I just, bring it here and there, a couple of places where I speak and all. But that t-shirt, I kid you not, if I had 50 of them, I could have sold 50 of them that day at jury duty. So we go in, we sit down. There's a Jewish judge. He looks to could have been your nephew, 75 years old, Judge Cohen. So we sit down and he rambles on for like 20 minutes, all about, what we're supposed to do and everything. And he says, okay, I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. If you wanna pick up the microphone and respond, feel free to. The deputy will hand you the microphone. I said, okay, great, no problem. So he asks a couple of questions, then he comes up, he says, does anybody here feel that the judicial system in this country is biased one way or the other? I said, oh man, that's a loaded question. The guy on the left of me and the guy on the right of me, I said, guys, I'm out of here by 11:30. I said, what are you gonna do? I said, just watch. So he gives me the mic. I said, sir, I said, Your Honor, Willie Guardiola is my name. I used to believe in the judicial system in this country. But ever since President Trump has been persecuted over the past 6-7 years, I do not believe in it. Look what's going on in New York. And I pointed at my watch. I said, right this moment, look what they're doing to our president in New York City. Coincides with this big, the 2 attorneys here, the other 2 attorneys, the defendant was a black gentleman, was in for murder. And Cohen's like saying, oh my God, who is this guy in the 3rd row? So we continue. He asks a couple more questions. Comes up for another questions and he says, is anybody here married to, related to, or very good friends with the police officer, law enforcement? And if you are, would you feel biased and lean his or her way if the police officer took the stand as a witness as opposed, say, to the defendant? I said, oh my God, that's a loaded question. I said, sir, give me the mic. So he gives it to me. This time I stand up. I go, my name is Willie Guardiola. I'm the president of the Palm Beach County Right to Life League. I also run Pro-Lifers for Trump. I organize protests and prayer rallies at abortion clinics because abortion is murder. I don't leave my house without calling law enforcement. I contact them at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance in writing to let them know that I'm going to be at these abortion clinics so the abortion clinics don't call the police. I already called the police. So, and I said, Yes, if a police officer took the stand as a witness, I would more than likely lean his way and find him more credible than, say, the defendant. The defendant's looking at me like saying, oh man, who is this guy? So you could have heard a pin drop. It was unbelievable. We sit down and Judge Cohen says, okay, let's take a 10-minute recess. So we walk out there and everybody's like looking at me and I'm staring at my shirt. It was hysterical. So we come back in after 10 minutes. We sit down in our same seats and everything. Judge Cohen comes up. He says, the following jurors will be dismissed from jury duty today. He gets to my name, Willie Guardiola. So I stand up and I salute him and I said, thank you, Your Honor. God bless you. I'm on my way to Mar-a-Lago. The place starts laughing, clapping. It was hysterical. So I have to walk through the aisle there with all the people. The deputy's there, fist bump to him, fist bump the other three. It was hysterical, and I walked towards the door, and I just waved to him. I said, go Trump, and I walked out the door. It was that. Thank you. We will never see that happen in a courtroom again in the United States. I guarantee you, they probably changed the rules at the courthouse because of what I did. But that T-shirt there got me out of jury duty, and it really, really worked. So I got to have a platform in front of 65 of my peers, in front of 4 attorneys, the defendant, the judge, and 4 of the people that were there. And I got to speak about our president. I got to speak about how important pro-life is. And, you know, maybe if I could have changed one heart in there, if one person would have said, you know what, I can't vote for Trump, but after hearing that gentleman speak, maybe I can vote for Trump. So if we could change one heart to vote for Trump, and one person who was pro-abortion to say, I'm going to turn pro-life now. That's all it takes, just by wearing that T-shirt. And I was there from 8 a.m. I was dismissed at 11:16 in the morning. The 2 guys next to me, I said, is it 11:30 yet? And I walked out. That'll never happen again. It was hysterical, and I was laughing the whole way home. It was just unbelievable, just wow, that really took place. I didn't plan it. I mean, I just said, okay, I'm going to wear a T-shirt. But I didn't think he was going to ask me those questions, and let alone be able to speak in front of all these people. So it was a terrific experience in my life. And like I've told everybody, you know, I'll go to bat for President Trump no matter where, no matter what, because if he doesn't win November 5th, this country is just, I don't even know where we're going. I mean, I've been looking at Belize, and I don't want to, you know, just literally walk away from this country because I've got 32 nieces and nephews, from ages 6 months old to 39 and a half years old, and that's why I do this. So, you know, to me it's important to be here, whether there's 100,000 at Wildwood or there's 38 people here tonight. I am so honored and just blessed that you guys are here tonight to listen to what I had to say. So, thank you. Really, really, I've spoken in front of thousands of people, and I've spoken in front of one person. My pastor, Father Gary George, in confession. That's a tough speech right there. But it was really funny, and I'll end with this. I go to confession every Wednesday. Every Wednesday I go to confession. People say, how do you, you know, every Wednesday, how much do you sin? You know, what can you do? You know, it's really my thoughts. It's not my actions. And it's always against the liberals. It's always against the Democrats. Every time they show that press secretary on TV, you know, it's like, you know, and that's a sin. That's a sin. So when I go and I have to confess to Father Gary, I said, Father Gary, I have a question. I said, this is really funny. Hold on a second there, because I have to word this thing correctly. Oh, Lord have mercy. I just lost my train of thought right now. This is too funny. Ralph, you have to cut the video. No, this is, oh man, I forgot what was my train of thought. But anyway, going to confession to me is really, really important. And, you know, as a Catholic, for me, it's important just to be, you know, in connection here with my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And it's really, really important. So it's, to me, you know, it's a blessing to be able to speak here, whether you're Catholic, Christian, Jewish, or whatever. We're all in this together. So I appreciate your time this evening. Thank you for having me, and God bless you.
Now we're really, thank you so much. Incredible speech. You're an unbelievable human being. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. I appreciate it. Thanks,
We have
guys.
Q&A. Please line up. The first question. May I ask the first question? Willie?
Yeah.
2. May we have this vote no before? May we keep the sign?
That's my last one, but you could have it.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll even give you the little,
Logo.
no, the thing to put it on, the stands.
Okay, one question. In an abortion clinic or a hospital, what does the administration do with the remains of the dead baby?
You know, that's probably such a tough question, and this goes back, people say, Willie, when did you get involved with pro-life? Guys, I was 15 years old. 15 years old, I was living in Miami, and I was working at a hospital called Westchester General Hospital. It was owned by a Jewish couple, the Ehrlichs, and this was in 1973, June of 73. And every Wednesday, there would be a line of women, probably 15 women, ages 17 to 40, dressed in white gowns in front of the surgery room. I said, wow, every Wednesday, these women are lined up here like this. I had no idea. I was working there at the age of 15. And I was like an orderly, and I was also doing the floors, picking up linens, picking up trash, etc. So I walked into the recovery room. No idea that they even did abortions in this hospital. And when I walked into this room, I could see it just like it happened yesterday. There was 8 women laying in these beds here. A few of them had, their legs open. Some were moaning. Some were eating, I don't know, like ice cream or something. And it was like a movie. I thought, oh my God, I had no idea they were doing abortions there. And then you asked me, what do they do with the trash? They used to just put it in I saw these red plastic liners that said contaminated, do not touch. So we couldn't touch those. The other ones I would pick up and throw it out there. To this day, different places, even Gosnell, who was the biggest abortionist in Philadelphia, what he did with all those babies, he would keep them in the refrigerator, the baby body parts and all. And now even Planned Parenthood has been busted by David Daleiden going back about 7-8 years ago, where they're selling the baby body parts. So the answer to your question here is different clinics do different things. Some just discard them, others are saving, for selling them as baby body parts. And that's what kills me when I told Planned Parenthood, I said, hold on, you say this is a blob of cells? It's a fetus? How can you sell a lung, a heart, and everything when you're telling me it's just a blob of cells? So it's all a big, big lie. But to answer the question again, basically it's up to each abortion clinic. And I've been hitting Presidential Women's Center on 45th Street. They've been open there for 37 years. They've done over 190,000 abortions. And the 6-week heartbeat went into effect exactly 2 weeks ago today, May 1st. And I thought, okay, let me go by there on Thursday and see if there's any cars in the parking lot, thinking that there would be nobody in the parking lot. When I drove up there, the place was packed. Put that phone away, sir, I'm not done yet. And it was unbelievable. The place was packed. And I drove through the parking lot. Every single parking spot was full. Behind the building, every spot was full. And I said, this can't be happening. So I came back on Saturday. It was full again. Tuesday. So Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday is when they do abortions, and the place is packed. So now I've got Mark Harrington, who works for Created Equal, one of my colleagues. He is in Ohio. So he's onto this story now. He had one of his girls call and asked and said, listen, I'm 11 weeks pregnant, what can I do, et cetera, et cetera. What they're doing is bringing in as many women as possible who are pregnant. And this place is paying for their trip to either North Carolina or Virginia. They're paying for the abortion and paying for a round trip to have their babies killed. That's how low, this is beyond, comprehension right now. But that's what they're doing. That's why there's so much business. And the Planned Parenthood of Florida Mango, the same way. Keep in mind, does anybody know that we closed 3 Planned Parenthoods in Palm Beach County in a span of 12 months? 3. Yeah, give everybody a hand right now. 3 of them in Palm Beach County. That's never been done in this country. And as the president of the Palm Beach County Right to Life League, I take great pride in that because it's a total team effort. Everybody that's been out there praying and fighting and everything. But 3 of them in a span of 12 months. We have 1 left at Florida Mango. We're going to close that place down. So go ahead. Next question.
Thank you. It was terrific. No Crystal Coral Lakes. My lady right there, Marcia Kalman, Jewish. For 35 years, she taught at St. John Vianney High School in Homedale, New Jersey.
Wow.
And she said, and she continues to say, it's the best time of her life. Plus the fact that our license plate says choose life. One thing that and following up from Alan, we have to somehow say, how can the intelligent Christians and Jews vote for the same party as Hamas? So therefore, somehow we have to let the dumb Jewish people, dumb Catholic, dumb Christians, you're voting for the same people who killed the people in Israel.
Amen.
That's the way to present it, somehow get that word.
That's a great point. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'm with you 100%.
Yeah. Hi, Willie. My name is Sandy Gorin. Firstly, as a Jew, I want to thank you and all the Christians who are standing up for Israel, because it's very important.
Thank you.
We cannot do it alone. We don't have the numbers. But I am a co-president of a Jewish Heritage Club in Valencia Palms, and I have invited, I don't know if you've heard of this pastor, author Victor Starsky. He is the president of Christians United for Israel. They have over 5 million members, and they work very, very feverishly for the state of Israel. It is these Christians. He is going to be speaking in my community at my invite on June 6th. He is a wonderful, wonderful pastor who's very, very involved. Kufu is the name of the organization, Christians United for Israel. And I cannot thank the Christian community enough for doing what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let me talk to you afterwards. I'll give you one of my pens. It's my business card. Before the next question, real quick, I remembered what I was telling Father Gary at confession. I said, Father, is it a sin if I lied to the policeman security guard at Presidential Women's Center? Because when I came up there, I had my iPhone recording, and I asked the guy, I said, sir, I'm from Miami, and I have a 17-year-old niece that's 11 and a half weeks pregnant, and her friend told her to come up here because you guys are privately owned. What could you do for me? And, again, I recorded this whole thing, so I lied to the guy. I don't have a 17-year-old niece that's pregnant because I would bop her in the head. But think about that. And so I asked Father Gary, he says, he goes, that's a great sin, and he still gave me the whole rosary to do. But it was pretty funny. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you for your talk. I don't have a question, but I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on. Everybody knows Biden is not in charge. So Obama's in charge. Obama has been pro-Palestine since his days at Columbia University. When he got to Columbia University, he didn't take any classes. Nobody knows him. Nobody remembers him. But he did that is any classes in his major. But he did meet two professors. One was Edward Said, a Palestinian, and the other was Rashid Khalida, another Palestinian. And they tell him about the situation in Palestine, and he's sympathetic. And they're ecstatic because he's the first American politician who was sympathetic to their cause. And Rashid Khalida introduces him to the leaders of Hamas, and he vows to help them. And we don't know how he got into Harvard. Oh, he did take a class with Rashid Khalida. So we don't know how he got into Harvard, but we think Khalida got him in.
Yeah.
And then after Harvard, he goes to Chicago. He works as a community organizer. And he's on the board with Khalida and a lot of far-left radicals. Obama is a far-left radicals a la 1960s. They hate the country. They only see inequities, and they want to destroy America. So here you have someone who wants to destroy Israel, and he wants to destroy America, and that's what's going on.
It all goes back to the rules of radicals, Sal Alinsky, and and even going back to 1916 with Margaret Sanger. I mean, she was the founder of Planned Parenthood, and what really just boggles my mind is that the black people in our communities, they have no idea. 13% of the population is black, yet 39% of abortions come from black communities. So when I meet with black leaders, they're in denial. They just don't want to hear about it. The last 6 years in New York alone, more black babies were aborted than were born in New York City. And it's going to get like that in other cities right now if some of these amendments pass. Yes, ma'am.
Willie, we were on the trip to Israel together with Tom Trento, but I just want...
Donna, right?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go, Donna Z.
I just want to thank you. This is a terrific speech you gave, and it's wonderful. I know all the work you do. You're a good, good man. Thank you again.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna. You know, it's funny because she responds to almost all my emails, which is amazing, and that inspires me to continue writing. So it's a really important. While we were in Israel 5 years ago, my roommate was John Guandolo. You got to know that name because he's a former FBI guy, and he lives in Dallas, Texas. This guy is gutsy as can be, and when we roomed together in Israel in 2019, he was telling me stuff that's going on today. And, you know, understanding the threat, UTT, he ran that for about 5 years, and the stuff that he was telling me, we'd stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning, and just amazing what's going on there. So Tom Trento knows him very well, and John also plays the guitar and sings, so we get together, and it's amazing, it's great. Yes, sir, Bill.
Willie, just a fast question for you, Willie. I'm one of those confused Catholics. In regards to Father Frank Pavone, who we all love, I follow that guy. I think he's terrific. What's going on in the Vatican with this Pope? And we've lost really solid American priests as a result of him.
Great point.
What are your take on it? Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Not here to slam the Pope or anything, but on day 5, when he came into office as a papacy, March 19th of 2013, day 5, he was on the front cover of Time magazine and Rolling Stone magazine. Think about that. A Catholic Pope on the front cover of Rolling Stone magazine. I gave him the nickname Pope Enigma back then. So I really challenged him, his background, coming from Argentina, socialist country. He's not, Pope, put it this way, Pope John Paul II was our Pope for almost 28 years. I never once questioned him, not one time. Pope Benedict came in for almost 8 years, never questioned him once. As soon as this Pope opens up his mouth, I question everything. So it's very difficult. Father Frank Pavone is a dear friend of mine. He's living in Titusville now with Priests for Life. He stayed with me about 2 months ago. We went over to the Planned Parenthood, had a big prayer vigil there, and he was defrocked, and it came from the Vatican because he was too pro-life. It's just beyond comprehension that happened. It was December of 2022, and just threw him out of the church, and I just could not believe it. So here we are, Veterans Day weekend, and he's at my house. He spent the weekend, and we're ready to go to Planned Parenthood on that Saturday morning, November 11th, just this past, 2023. And I'm getting all these text messages. My phone is blowing up. Willie, Bishop Strickland was just, defrocked from being a bishop in Tyler, Texas. I mean, Bishop Strickland is one of my all-time favorite heroes. So I'm sitting there, and Father Frank says, Willie, what's wrong? And I said, look at this. So I shared it with Father Frank. He says, same exact thing happened to me, 11 months prior. So think about all these really good Catholic priests. Father James Altman. Every one of these priests that have been thrown out of the church, I've become great friends with. And a few months ago in Mar-a-Lago, we had that incredible Catholics for Catholics event. And it was all run by all these incredible speakers. And it was like a who's who. And I got to see all these priests who were friends of mine. And these are all radical, liberal, real good priests. The radical liberal compared to, these little wussies here. These people speak the truth. They walk the walk. And it's just, to sit there and be able to hug Father James Altman and Father Frank Pavone, Jesse Romero is there, and it was just phenomenal. Mike Flynn, the speakers were incredible. Here we are in Mar-a-Lago, which I've been to I don't know how many times, and we turned it into a cathedral. We prayed the rosary. We sang songs. We prayed at Mar-a-Lago, and it was like, wow. You guys need to get on my email list, because if you see those pictures and my captions and the videos amazing. Jim Caviezel, does everybody know who Jim Caviezel is? I mean, the actor, forget Hollywood, this guy is phenomenal. His talk was unreal, and they weren't allowed to record his talk. But I snuck it in and I put it on YouTube, and it's got thousands of hits. So it's pretty funny, but Jim Caviezel is awesome. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Rachel. When you spoke, Willie, I was thinking to myself, clearly from my name, I'm Jewish. I'm traditionally Jewish. I'm a mother of 3 kids. I am very much aware of what's happening on college campuses in terms of the attitude towards abortion. I say to myself, other than the Orthodox, why are the Jewish rabbis failing? They do not speak out. In terms of Israel, I'm very, very sensitive and close. I've been there 19 times. I speak the language.
Wow.
And I hope to go next month with Women in Healthcare. However, we lost 786 soldiers in this war. I don't know how many countless people in Nova. It's a tragedy for the Jewish people. Yet, I have one of my kids is at UT Austin Aerospace, and when I went to the Jewish sorority there, these girls are wearing buttons against Abbott because he's pro-life. Where the Jewish community is failing, I don't know. I'm not here to point fingers, but if I could do anything to make a difference, and just to this gentleman in purple, I don't think, sir, that the Jewish are stupid. I just think they are self-hating, like Bernie Sanders, and they have sickness, Jews, and Jews need to fit in. So in Hollywood and all the imitators, they need to fit in. And they haven't learned through history that by fitting in, they fail themselves.
Jewish anti-Semites. Chuck Schumer. Big man, never worked a day.
Yeah. No, thank you for the question.
I could do, to make a difference. I'm new to Florida. I moved
Right.
in 2000.
I mean, I've had this conversation with the girls from Jackson, you know, Michelle Terrace and Siggy and all them, and it's like, they're really not involved with the pro-life, but I talked to like a Linda Stock, who's actually from Australia. She's Jewish, lives in Palm Beach Gardens, one of the most active people in the REC. She actually left the REC because of the politics, but she is so pro-life because she literally watches what I do and reads everything, and she comes out to our rallies and everything. So here's the Jewish lady who's about 70 years old, who is pro-life as can be. And yet the neighbor next to her, which I know won't mention name, is just a Jewish guy, and he is just totally the opposite. So,
But it's the rabbis,
Yeah,
the
well-
leaders that make a difference. The Orthodox are on board. They don't believe in abortion.
well, what's the rabbi's name that just passed away? Rabbi right from Boca. Silver. Rabbi Silver. He passed away. Now don't clap.
Rabbi Barry Silvers passed away a month ago.
About a month ago. But we actually did an interview on TV, and I wasn't aware that he was on the other, so it was actually a debate on Channel 12, I think it was. So they took my take on pro-life, conception to natural death, and he came up and says, no. A baby, he says, conception, what is that? And he actually said, a baby, we consider it a life when the baby is born. So what, the 9 months in it, the little baby's like, so that was his take. And all he wanted to do every month, Willie, please, come on, let's come and debate. So I said, you know what, do I really want to waste my time with this guy? And, lo and behold, bless his soul, but he did pass away about 5 weeks ago. But he was a radical who taught all his people, and he wasn't very a pro-American either.
Well, Barry Silver, God bless his soul, I debated him many times. Barry Silver, I'm from Brooklyn, and Barry Silver passed away. He was a schmuck. Total schmuck. The problem, we have a rabbi in the audience right now. Joe, Rabbi Joe, you want to say anything about rabbis?
No.
Okay. May I? I've been writing about this for years, ever since I was down here in 1991. The Jewish community is different from the Christian community. There's no one above a rabbi. The rabbi is a private worker. He works privately for a synagogue. A priest has the Roman Catholic Orthodoxy above him, and
He's assigned by a bishop.
the others are assigned by bishop. The rabbis are private entrepreneurs. If they say anything, half the shul is liberal and half the synagogue is conservative. So if he says anything against the liberals, he'll be thrown out. So it's basically money. But you have two rabbis in this community. You know B'nai Torah Synagogue on 18th Street? And you know Bethel on 4th Avenue. They're both run by anti-Israel rabbis. David Steinhardt and I can't think of the other guy's name. David something else. They both belong to a group called TRUAH, T'-R-U-A-H. And I've written about this for years. I've tried to get them thrown out of their synagogues. They belong to TRUAH, which is a fake Jewish organization, which is pro-Palestinian. And these are the two biggest synagogues, the biggest Orthodox and the biggest Reform synagogue in South Florida. We have a problem with our rabbis because they are basically, half of them are hooers. You know, they work for a living and, you know, they give religious indoctrination, what have you. But we have a problem with them. It's up to you. If you belong to a rabbi, or if you belong to a synagogue, and the rabbi on Friday night or Saturday night says something offensive to you, you have every right to stand up, as you're doing now, and speak up and say, Rabbi, you're wrong. You have every right to speak up because you're paying his salary. Wow. A rabbi is basically many times like the janitor. He gets paid a salary. So you pay a salary. So if a rabbi says anything against Israel or against pro-lifers, you stand up and speak up. If you don't, it's your fault.
Wow. That's great to hear. Thanks. Give him a hand. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Colleen Venezia from...
Oh, there you go. How are you?
I get Willie's mail, and I do respond sometime. I just want to say the priests, there are priests that are called canceled priests. Those that are standing up, like Willie is, are really suffering. They're, you know, it's just saying... Anyway, but the reason I wanted to say something is I belong to a group, it's in Deerfield, a pro-life group, and they are forming a committee to get into action on this vote no on number 4. So they're looking for people, you know, to do just little things, maybe a phone call, maybe distribute some flyers. They met today and I couldn't be there, but if you could give me your name, email, I would be happy to I'm going to attend future meetings and do what I can. I'm real afraid of this, you know, ballot thing, because...
No, definitely. Thanks, Colleen. She's married to Deacon Dick Venezia, who's a Catholic deacon with our church, and her brother-in-law is a phenomenal Catholic priest, one of my best friends, retired priest, Father Art Venezia. So it's all, you know, in the family and just big pro-lifers, though.
Before Jean goes on, can I say one more thing? How many of you Jewish women belong to Hadassah? If you belong to Hadassah, you must speak out, because Hadassah is pro-abortion, you know that. I read their magazine every month and I write about them. In fact, I got a letter from the woman who's the president of Hadassah nationwide. It's 200 or 100,000 women. She sent me a personal letter admonishing me for my stance. I sent a letter back saying, basically, screw you. But Hadassah stands firmly with pro-abortion. You must speak out. If you're a paid member of Hadassah, a life member, you speak out and you tell them, and you tell your chapter. Every single community here has a Hadassah chapter, every community. You go to their meetings, and you speak out, and you tell them what Willie said. And you change it from the bottom up. The people who pay, it's your responsibility.
Thanks, Alan. Yes, sir.
And we'll send you a video of everything Willie has said tonight as well.
Thank you.
Speaking of the vote, and I want to reflect on a newsletter that Alan has sent out to everybody about a month or two ago, and what we can expect in the coming months, and the confusion they're going to rain upon us. And Alan very succinctly said, we shouldn't wait to vote on voting day, we should make it a point to vote early and not worry about being thrown at or blocked against getting into traffic or whatever is going on. And I think that's now we should be talking about winning. We know what we were against, now what we need to be is
Good point.
all in for Trump and to get there. And the one thought I had was there's going to be these ballot boxes still, I imagine, right? Mail-in.
I meet with Wendy Link every other week, and she's our supervisor of elections up there in Palm Beach County. So I have her on her toes. The problem is there's so many women, there's like a group of 8 women who can't stand her, and they fight her 24/7. So it's very difficult when I put in a good word at our meetings and I speak in front of these women and I'm trying to convert them to say, you know, give her a shot. You know, she is pro-life, she's Catholic. Unfortunately, DeSantis told her 4.5 years ago, hey, if you want to win, you got to become a Democrat. And that killed me. I said, Wendy, you know, you voted your whole life Republican, now you're a Democrat. I said, do me a favor, for 24, you need to flip back and become Republican, and everybody's going to give you a thumbs up.
Well, I had a thought about what we do with these ballot boxes. After seeing some of the footage from 2,000 Mules and guys that were wearing gloves and putting 50 or 60 ballots in a box, they're getting paid $10 a piece, and then taking pictures of the ballot box to prove they were there, and getting paid at the end of the day. I think, wouldn't it be a little bit intimidating if hundreds of us took our lawn chairs and just circled around the ballot boxes all throughout the night and just was there and taking pictures? Is there a law against it, or you know?
That's a good point you bring up, and I brought it up to Wendy Link. The ballot boxes are open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 p.m. they lock everything up. So we don't know what's going to happen at nighttime. Here's the problem. Not everybody's going to those ballot boxes. But if you go to the nearest post office over here and you put in 100 into just a regular post office, they're not going to know who you are. So you just put them in there and they're not going to be able to track it. So you could go to, you know, 50 different post offices, put 50 here, 50, 50, and not go to the ballot boxes. They won't be able to trace it. All these post offices do have cameras, and they might say, hey, hold on a second, this gentleman went to 50 different post offices. But that's the problem, is tracking it down. I'm putting an email together. It's going to be part 1 and part 2 that's going to scare you to death. Tucker Carlson really brings it up. And if you see what's going on in this country right now, it will scare the heck out of you. And with all the illegals, it's beyond comprehension. There's groups of people that do this for a living. They are being paid by Soros, etc. And they have all these illegals that have already signed up, and they've already got, I mean, when you listen to this video, and Tucker Carlson speaking to this lady, and she says in the Constitution, it says to the effect that if you feel that you're a citizen of the United States, you can vote as a citizen of the United States. That's what it says, and that's what he's bringing up here. So let's say that Bill just swam in from Italy, you know, 6 weeks ago, but he loves this country and he loves this club here. And he says, you know what? I feel like an American citizen. I love this country. I'm not going back to Italy. So he's going to vote here whether he's got ID or not, and whether he is a citizen. So if you look at this video, and there's 2 different videos, it's just mind-boggling. So everything that we're talking about doing here with Wendy Link and all that, just throw it out the window. Because Trump right now is kicking everybody's butt in those 7 swing states. We know that across the board. So God knows what's going to happen at DNC. Do you really think that Joe Biden's going to come out there in July still be running for president? I doubt it. So, you know, there's so much, as a basketball referee for 45 years of my life. Think if Alan, myself, and Bill were working the Florida-Kentucky game, and we go out to the referee and the supervisors and the scorekeepers and the coaches say, oh, hold on a second, guys, let me have your whistles. You cannot blow the whistle in this game. Just run up and down the court and let these kids do whatever they want. What do you think is going to happen the first minute of that game? So, and that's what's happening with the Democrats. There's no rules or regulations. They are doing everything to piss you off. They're doing everything to piss everybody off, and we're not doing anything about it. So I've been saying law and order and military is what it's going to have to come down to. I'm going to tell you right now, if Trump wins on November 5th, it's going to be a civil war. If Trump loses, it's going to be a civil war. So brace yourself and get ready, because it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be a picnic in the park here, so get ready.
thank you for what you're doing. You, me, and Ralph, we got more to do.
Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Rabbi Joe Fishoff, and before I begin, I want to thanks Alan for embarrassing me up here. He was a member of my congregation for several years, and we loved having him. We loved his activities and his activism. He spoke about Israel all the time, and of course about the Republican Party, how great it was. And I think if you remember my sermons, I was also very, very pro-Israel. I love Israel. My problem also, first of all, Willie, thanks for everything that you said tonight. You're an incredible speaker and a great motivator. There's several things that go through my mind right now. My parents were Holocaust survivors, which is another reason that I'm very pro-Israel, love Israel. Question, how can we even vote for a president who doesn't even care about the American hostages that are being, we don't even know where they are or what they are, what's going on with them. I don't get, this guy who we have now, JB, hates America. I think he loves to be president, but he loves all the pomp and circumstance about being president, but he doesn't know how to really act as a president. Speaks to both sides of the fence, just for votes, 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 and he's constantly, in any of his remarks, doesn't even tell you what he wants to do. He's always bashing Trump. If you get him in, he's gonna do this. If he has no guts and no backbone. So many of the things I just want to say, but I never got together with those other rabbis because they're members of that true organization. I cannot believe they could be. But again, my synagogue and myself as a leader for several years, 7.5 years, I was pro-Israel. And by the way, if you need a professional drummer in your band and you're thinking, I'm your man.
Great, thank you, I appreciate it. Let me tell you a quick story here about how far back I go with the Jewish kids. Running my basketball camps, I started in 1989. And mind you, I had to go and compete against the Miami Heat, against University of Miami, FIU, all these other big institutions have been around. And I'm just a little guy here, and I had a partner named Caesar who passed away about 8 years ago. But my whole thing was, I used to go to the JCC in the Temple Beth Am, and I would see these Jewish kids playing. And I said, I need to get a couple of these kids to come to my camp. Because what do Jewish parents do when they see something good? They talk and they tell everybody else about it. So we finally got a couple of good Jewish kids come to my camp, and word got out, and I'm telling you, it was unbelievable. The amount of Jewish kids that came to our basketball camp was incredible. So, and people really appreciated it. The parents were unbelievable. I was invited to so many bar mitzvahs, it was not even funny. One kid named Eric Berger, his whole entire bar mitzvah, the place that he had, it was a basketball court, it was the locker rooms, and everybody was wearing our Go All Pro basketball camp t-shirts. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I walked in there and said, look at this. I think he spent like $35,000. But it was just an amazing thing. So we also had a lot of Catholics and Christians from the schools that used to come there. So we used to have activities, and we'd have like a talent show. And if you played an instrument or whatever, come up there and play, and it was a lot of fun. So we had like 35 girls from Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic School. They take the stage, and they go up and they sing, Our God is an Awesome God. And you have all these Jewish kids there, and you have my partner and all these coaches saying, Willie, what are you doing? I said, you're going to chase everybody out of here. I said, what are you talking about? He goes, they're just, talking about God. They're singing about God. These Jewish kids are going to go crazy. The Jewish kids came up on the stage and joined them. And now we have 55 people up there singing, and it was the most amazing thing in the world. And for the next, God knows how many weeks, that's what we were talking about. The parents said, Willie, thank you so much for uniting our communities. It makes me cry. So you saw the Catholics and the Jews together, and that's why we're here together, Catholics, Christians, and Jewish. And again, thank you so much for having me here. Hopefully I can get back home at a decent time. I still got to go to